Okay, I don't think the video played, but it's all good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in the video, but you know what? We're here and it's all good, baby. We're live. We're back in action. We're ready to rock and roll. We're attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers, baby. This is the Power 32 podcast. We are in the house despite the glitch in the beginning. We're here. We're ready to go. Thursday Night Football. My name is Jason Fearman, a.k.a. the Sports Prophet, a.k.a. the Smart Guy, as you see, along with my smart-ass co-host, Mr. Kenny Culp. Happy Halloween, baby.
Happy Halloween, baby. It's the Gremlins are in the chat. That's why they already got into the graphics department's already suffering from the Gremlins.
Right. I love it. We already got tricked, man. That's messed up. People are egging my car as we speak right now. That's not cool. That's not cool. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the video. That was interesting, but yeah, we'll run that one back next show. It's all good. We are here for surprises, disappointments, tricks, treats, we're going to call it. We got NFL action tonight. We got the Texans, who are without two of their top wide receivers right now, going against the Jets, who are desperate, but they're desperate every week, and they still can't figure it out. So we'll get to all that sort of stuff. We're here to have a good time. NFL, your comments, more than welcome. We want them. We want to hear them. We want to talk about them. We're going to squeak in a little fantasy action for you tonight. Ready to have fun, Kenny? Let's do it, man.
Let's go.
Let's rock and freaking roll. So we talked about it's Halloween theme. What are our tricks? What are our treats so far during the season? What's real? What's not? What's been surprising us, disappointing us? And I mean, I hate to be negative freaking Nancy over here right off the bat, but I think people in our chat would definitely agree that Anthony Richardson has been a trick. And this is horrible. It's really unfortunate what's happened. It reminded me of Josh Allen kind of in the beginning, where he was really raw, come out like, oh my God, this guy's got all this ability. Let's see what happens with him. But now being benched like Bryce Young, second year coming in, being benched after a few games, like that's not good. And look, I understand you want to win now and you want to try to go for everything. I mean, even though it's a pipe dream, Kenny, for the Colts to win a Super Bowl this year, in my opinion, even with Joe Flacco playing well, but you have to eventually see if Anthony Richardson is going to be your guy. So I'm not sure if I really agree with this benching thing.
I agree with it. I just think it should have happened in the beginning of the season.
So just you're done with him. You're ready to give up on Anthony Richardson. Like this is
not to give up on him, but the same thing with Bryce. I just think that this year, no matter how much you want to, no matter how much you know you have to because you spent the money and you used the draft pick on him, he may not be ready. There's no reason to rush him. We tried it with Trey Lance, and it was a big disaster. We had to play him. We had to play him because we spent all that capital on him, and because it was his turn and it was his opportunity. But I think they knew he wasn't ready, and it wound up being a disaster. It may have been really what knocked him out of here in the finally. That might have been what it was.
So many quarterbacks. I mean, when you even think about like Zach Wilson or Justin Fields being traded. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looks like crap right now. It's crazy. Steve was saying that he thought that Richardson was better than Stroud last year. He started out pretty damn good, and then he got hurt. And then coming into this year, he showed a couple of signs, but all he can really do is run the ball really well and throw the ball really far down the field. That's all I've seen. So he's been a major disappointment. I hate to start off negative, but that was the number one thing that popped into my mind, how awful. And if you think about it, going back to college, which I'm not a big college guy, but in Florida, he played 13 games or something like that. And he didn't even have a great stat line. So
it's all about the tools, the talent, that raw talent and his ability, just like Trey Lance. They've got the tools, they got the size, they got the arm, they got everything is there. He may not be ready up here. And I'm not saying they're not smart. I'm saying it takes time for a lot of players to transition from college to the pros, get all the rules, get all the protocol, get all the instincts and that muscle memory. It just takes a long time for some people. Doesn't mean that they can't succeed at some point. But like Mac, like Zach, the quarterbacks that we were talking about before, we've talked about before, the guys that if they had sat 2-3 years, I think that they're doing fine.
And that's fine. There's something to be said for that. There's no doubt. And we've seen it both ways. Jordan Love obviously being one example of sitting down and waiting, obviously behind one of the greats, Aaron Rodgers. Not that Rodgers was like the greatest mentor to him, although I heard he was okay, not so bad. But regardless, I mean, you look at the situation and you say to yourself, is this guy actually going to be our guy? And you can't find out until he actually plays. So, you know what? He sat last year for the majority of the season, 75% of it. And call him what you want, Gardner Minshew is a veteran in this league. He's been in the league for a long time now. So he did get to sit down and see what it's like. And Indianapolis did have a pretty good year last year. I think they were 9-8 and they just missed the playoffs, So I think that, yeah, all right, that's great. You want to win now. And maybe I think this has more to do with his comments than anything, saying, oh, I'm tired, take me out of the game. Maybe it has more to do with that and losing guys in the locker room.
I think you're right. And Steve-O in the chat agrees with you. I think it's an attitude thing. I mean, and I always liked Jameis Winston. I'm not saying he ever had an attitude, but I'm starting to get this, like, Jameis Winston sort of like very confident player, but like isn't giving you the what you need. He's not giving you what he's supposed to be producing and how
he gave it to him last week against Baltimore. I'll tell you that. I can't believe that happened. What the hell?
He did. That was awesome, man. But we saw that with Flacco the first time he came back. But then if you look at his following starts, half the production. It just, that new quarterback, when they come out and that pro and they're ready and the D didn't prepare for that guy, you could see that happen sometimes. And I'm not taking anything away from Jameis because I know he could throw for 450 yards a game. It's just that can he score points has always been the problem,
That's true. And can he not turn the ball over has always been the problem. That's why he's on, his fourth team in the past 3 years or whatever.
And before Deshaun went down, he was the most sacked quarterback. Is that going to change now? It's still going to be a problem. So
that's what happens when quarterbacks hold on to the ball too long. And you can't put it all on the offensive line. You got to get the ball out. You got to make your reads. And if you got to throw it away, then throw it away. I don't care.
Decision making. You got to make a choice. You got to make it fast.
Absolutely.
Before everybody's route ends and you got nobody. Now you got people just wandering out there. So.
Right. And then that becomes, on the quarterback, I got to make a play. I got to find somebody. And the receivers need to learn that if they're far, they got to come back toward the ball, work toward your quarterback. I see it so often. Wide receivers a lot of gagging around in the secondary. It's like, no, work back toward your quarterback. Give him that easy 7-yard completion.
Right. Where are these guys going? I wonder sometimes. Like, come back. You can't just stand there with the cornerback touching your back. You have to do something.
Got to do something. Well, give me one of your tricks or your treats. Something surprising.
Well, my treat, as much as I hate to say it, is going to have to be Sam Darnold. Even with the 2 losses, he's been a really good quarterback. He wasn't Jimmy G. He wasn't Jimmy G 8 games in a row. But I think it's 2 different teams, so I'm not going to put that much on Sam. But we all wrote that MFer off. We wanted him the hell out of here. We hated him. We didn't like him. They made something out of him, and good for them, and good for him, because he's been in the league for a long time. He was drafted first, Baker second that year.
No, he was actually, Baker went first, and then Baker went either second or third, whatever.
And so good for him, man. I mean, this is what we're talking about. Sometimes you can't just be put out there, even if you're 6'8" and you can throw the ball 70 yards. It doesn't mean that you're ready to play. So here's a guy who will probably be like Flacco and Fitzmagic in 5 years, where he's on teams who are having issues with young quarterbacks, and he's semi-mentoring, semi-bridge, and you can make a good living in the NFL doing that.
Sure you can. Absolutely. Millions and millions of dollars, no problem. He'll be living very comfortably for a long time.
Another real quick treat I'll give you is Mike Tomlin, who I told you would have his first losing season this year. But we're going to go deeper, because I also said that the first half of the season was going to be real easy for them. It's the second half of their schedule that becomes very hard. So we're going to find out what they're made of now.
You're right. They got to play all their division games still. They got all 6 division games they got to play. They got the Chiefs on the schedule, a couple other hard teams. So you're absolutely right about that. We're going to see what they really are. And now that Russell Wilson is their quarterback, that's who they're going with.
Here we go.
There's a surprise too, whatever.
So here's the funny thing. Now we have a brand new team. So that might be an advantage for the Pittsburgh, that it's not Justin Fields and that squad and those plays and that style. Now we're moving on to a guy who can ditch that ball and throw it 60 yards down the field. That Pickens play last week was really nice. It was his only touchdown, but it was really nice.
Yeah, I hear you. No doubt. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go with another trick, and that was Trevor Lawrence. Mentioned his name before. I don't know what is happening right now. Again, I can't put it all on him. I go to coaching. I go to the lack of a running game that I'm not seeing, even though Tank Bigsby filled in pretty well. The defense is not playing as well as they should. I don't know what happened to Jacksonville, but they were supposed to be a contender for the AFC South along with Houston this year, and it is just not happening. They're 2-6. They're going to Philadelphia. We'll pick the games in a little bit, but I'm really surprised what happened to them. Doug Peterson's probably going to be out of a job. They're going to have to reculture this whole entire thing.
Again.
You know what I really think hurts them, honestly, and it's being very much overlooked, and this guy's in Tennessee right now, not that they're doing much, but not having Calvin Ridley, I think, really hurt the offense, and not having Evan Ingram in for a while hurt the continuity of it. So, again, not all on Trevor Lawrence, but, dude, you're the number one pick. Come in there and make these other guys look good. Let's get it going. Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr. is a very good rookie wide receiver. Why can't they win?
Now he's a little banged up, unfortunately, but yes, he's been fantastic. And maybe that's what they counted on, him being fantastic, but to make up for two guys, I think, is a little much. So they lost 2 wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. They thought they were going to be fine. They looked good. They also got Gabe Davis in the draft.
Yeah.
They had the tools. They wanted to go young and fast, I think, and then it just didn't work out. And we talked about this last week. Great segue. Anthony Richardson is looking like Trevor Lawrence, and that's bad news for Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence is right now making these horrible throws, and he's been in the league too long, and he knows better, and he's a really good quarterback, and to be looking like Anthony Richardson is bad.
Yeah, and these These throws aren't like, oh, I made a bad mistake. No, you made a bad
5
throw.
yards away. They're 5-10 yard passes.
Wide open wide receivers. That is a problem, man. Can't have
Something's up.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay along with this trick thing. Yeah, what's up, Sentinel? He's in here. Steve, what up? I'm gonna keep going with this trick thing over here because I think that Jordan Love might be a little bit of a trick. I'm not really sure, man. 15 touchdowns, that's real nice, but he's got 9 interceptions already. His quarterback rating is 55.6. I looked it up before we got on because I wanted to be accurate. Look, he can make plays. The kid is good. There's no doubt. But I think that we all got caught up too much in what happened last year and then beating Dallas in the playoffs and, putting up a pretty good fight against the 49ers in the divisional round. There's no doubt about it. But I think they may have caught lightning in a bottle for a while. And I think that without Josh Jacobs, this team is not anywhere near as good they are on offense. I think that Jacobs is saving them, to be honest with you, and that defense at times. Jordan Love is not playing that great. 9 interceptions already halfway through the season. That's not good.
That's a terrible number, especially when you thought you were getting Aaron Rodgers and now you're still at Brett Favre, right? That was the whole thing. They wanted Aaron Rodgers. It looks like they're getting Brett Favre, and it all started in the playoffs against us on that last play when he threw that interception. Before that, he was talked about as the greatest young quarterback in the world. He waited. Right. He was going to be the next big thing. And then he made that play, and it kind of stuck with him, I think. These things like, a little PTSD stays with a lot of these players, and you start thinking too much, and it starts to mess with you. So I think that's probably what's going on.
Sentinel was a great win for them. They did destroy Dallas last year. And the injury they just got right now, ironically enough, he is got a groin injury, and he may or may not play. He's trending towards playing against the Lions this weekend. Huge NFC North matchup, which, again, we're going to talk about soon, no doubt about it. I don't know. You got 1 or 2 more? I may have a couple more over here. I'll try to stay on the positive side.
Let's see. Jordan Mason is going to be a treat for me because we finally got to see the guy. He finally got the start. It wasn't just garbage time yards or in the middle of a game or here and there. He's been taking it from beginning to end and running shit, I guess I could say.
You can say whatever the hell you want on this fucking show.
We've been waiting. Niner fans have been waiting. We knew he was never going to touch the ball behind Eli and CMC, and he got it. He took it. He ran with it, and he didn't just do okay. He did great, and so good for Jordan.
And you know what? How great he's doing is great and all, but if we have Christian McCaffrey, we're not 4-4. We're 6-2 probably.
We're probably absolutely right. Yeah, we beat the Rams and we beat the Cardinals if we had CMC.
Without a doubt. Maybe even a better game against the Chiefs. Who knows? But that's how important he is. That's the kind of MVP that I thought he was last year, that he still could be for the 49ers this year. But let's not kid ourselves. He's aging. He's getting older. His body's not going to be getting much healthier. We got to get him as much as we can right now as we can. So
if you're going to buy a Charger, you're going to buy a Charger brand new, but you're going to drive it every time you drive it 140 miles an hour every single day.
Yeah. You can't keep repairing it with a new transmission, man. No, it doesn't work like that. No, can't keep doing that. The car's going to die at some point. But let him keep going as long as he possibly can. And Aaron Rodgers has been going for a long time, and you want to talk about disappointment. This is a trick of all tricks, of all trades, of all what the hell is happening. The Jets are so bad. I can't believe how bad they are. I can't believe that a schmuck like me had the balls to pick them to actually win that fucking division.
I showed you my short, right? You never picked them. The Jets are never coming back. They're never coming back.
And you're right, Sentinel. Transmission is more important to maintain that damn engine. I mean, Jesus Christ. But no, the Jets, I mean, the disaster that has happened. I know they bring in Devontae Adams and they thought everything was going to be all better. No, they still lost the last couple of games.
Last week was a disaster.
What's going on? How can they be that bad? It's a couple of, first of all, the best coach that they had, they let out the building, and that's Robert Saleh. You bring up Jeff Ulbrich.
Why they were losing. He had nothing to do with this why we're losing. And let me point something out. I think the D quit on that team the game after he left. They did not play.
Look, the D is not playing the same because the 3 games of Saleh's been gone. They've been letting up 23, 24 points, something like that, which they were letting up only like 15 when he was there. And that's because Jeff Ulbrich was able to concentrate on the defense more. Now he can't. Now he's got to be a head coach. He don't know what the fuck he's doing out there.
Right.
He's trying his best. So now they're so inept on offense. Look, I've been there. Like, even whether it's high school or flag football or whatever, you feel like you're freaking drowning. You've seen the movie The Replacements. Shane Falco goes, I feel like I'm in quicksand. When you're trying everything you could possibly do, and there's just nothing happening, and you keep drowning and drowning and drowning. That's what the Jets are doing. If they get a first down, it's like a freaking miracle, man. They are a horrible team.
And they celebrated, and they celebrated hard, too.
Yeah, they do. Oh, my God. Yeah, right? First down's like everything to them. Oh, my God.
Weird. I don't know what that team does. I don't know how they do that.
Sentinel, my God, AR-12 hated Brett Favre so much he's turned into him. Oh my, he's worse than Brett Favre, in my opinion.
He is.
Aaron Rodgers. He thinks
because
that
Brett Favre could win in big moments. He made the big play, though.
Brett Favre scared the shit out of me in the 90s as a 49er fan. Every time we played against him, I'm like, oh my God, I got to deal with this guy again. And he was never a conventional quarterback. He was one of those, I'm going to go make plays out the pocket, and he always seemed to get it done. Man, did I hate him.
And he'd do it throwing 4 interceptions in one game.
Yeah, right? Unbelievable. Yeah, Sentinel says same. I remember the 4 touchdowns he threw in the game after his father died against the Raiders. I mean, come on. You talk about magical, divine intervention stuff. Don't tell me there's no God. I mean, that shit's freaking real right there.
We don't know, man. We don't know.
Still shell shock from him, Sentinel. I hear you, man. Damn. You know what's been a definite treat, though? Jayden Daniels. Wow. Okay. Once again, the second pick strikes. It was C.J. Stroud last year, and now it's Jayden Daniels this year. It seemed to be the better of the 2 quarterbacks over Caleb Williams and, of course, Bryce Young. So Jayden Daniels, Kenny, I mean, he's been great. He's talked about in the MVP conversation now, and now he's got a Hail Mary to add to his resume. What a freaking ending to that game, man. And you know what? It really isn't just him. It's Dan Quinn. He's in there now. Cliff Kingsbury, he's there. New organization, new culture, new feeling. And Washington has got it going on, man. They are playing really well on defense, and nobody's talking about that because it's all about Jayden Daniels, but they have been an absolute treat.
Washington has had their DC for quite a few years now, and that makes a difference, right? The Niners have been switching DCs every 7 to 9 months. We don't even get the guy for a full year.
It's
like less than a year, and we're often he's got either he's a head coach or he's never heard from again.
Thieves out there.
We need someone to settle down here as our defensive coordinator and just stay.
Yeah.
And then we might have a chance because even though we moved from Saleh to D'Amico, they were like on the same page. They were kind of like somewhat similar.
They didn't miss a beat.
Wilkes was very different, I thought, than D'Amico and Saleh. And Sorensen, I think, is very different than Wilkes.
Yes.
Or any of them. I mean, and they went in-house because the Niners like to bargain bin. They like to spend. I don't know. They make things work because there's a lot of places they don't spend money. And I think it really hurts them.
Yeah, Sentinel saying thinks D'Amico was better. D'Amico might have been better than Saleh. I mean, either way you want to slice, they were both great. And that's where the 49ers have been hurting for this year. They have not been playing great defense, and that's kind of been our focal point. And Kenny, you know this as well as any 49er fan. Sentinel, you know this, obviously. Our defensive line was our bread and butter. It's not anymore. We're not getting to the quarterback like we used to, Kenny.
Now, we're not sacking people. We're not scaring anyone, and we're not stopping the run, which even just 2-3 years ago, you wouldn't think of running on us. You'd be lucky to get 2.5 yards running the ball against us, but teams would do it. They'd do it 2 times in a row, and then they'd have to throw on 3rd and 7. because they could not run on us. And now you can get 7, 8, 9 yards a pop on this defense running the ball. And that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal because holding a team to just 3.94 yards is like tops. So that gives
I got you right. You ready for this one, Kenny? You ready for what's going to happen? Robert Saleh will be back as our D coordinator next year.
I mean, I would love that, but he's with his best friend right now, McVay. They're like, I'm sorry, LaFleur. They're very close. LaFleur. And so it's possible, but yeah, he may just be consulting this year and he may come back. But what I will say about Saleh, even though I do agree that I think DeMeco was better, produced better, I feel like the players really loved Saleh. They were real close with him and they really respected him and they tried to play for him. And that's why I think the Jets D died when he left. I feel like some of them are just like, nah, man, I'm not going to even give you 100% this year. I don't care. You got rid of my boy. That's my dude. I'm on defense. I only care about my DC. There's a lot of guys like that, you know?
Yeah.
They play defense. They don't look at the offense. They don't give a shit about who has touchdowns or what. They know numbers, and they're out there to kill that guy. That's what the defense is usually doing. They're memorizing numbers and plays and stopping a guy. They don't know what your stats. No, they don't know if a guy has 11 touchdowns.
Yo, speaking of plays, Sentinel's bringing up the Iliad right now. I think that's the book with the Achilles heel. Is that it? Homer in the Iliad? Is that right? Tell me.
No,
I got that right there.
Homer is one thing. Achilles heel is Troy, which is the Helen of Troy, which is two different stories, but they may be in the. I know they're in the same culture, Greek. I just think they're in the same book because it's been a long time.
Yeah. If you don't know, go watch the movie with Brad Pitt, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so speaking of these Jets, they play tonight. Again, as desperate for a win as you can possibly be. They're favored somehow. They are at home. Again, I'm a gambler, so I know that they're favored by 2.5 points right now. I'm going the other way. I'm taking the Texans, even though they don't have Stephon Diggs anymore. He is out for the year. Nico Collins still out, so you got to rely on a veteran. I'm talking about a freaking veteran. He may be like a veteran, like a senior citizen by now, Robert Woods, all right? So you got him, Xavier Hutchinson. You're going to have to rely more on Dalton Schultz, guys like that. So this is going to be not an easy task going up against a defense that we think is really good, but again, hasn't been playing that well. Let's see if they've added up a notch tonight. But the Texans, I think, will have a hard time at the beginning if Joe Mixon doesn't get going. He is their offense right now, Kenny. So I think this is all about Joe Mixon. And if the Jets stack up the box, they may have a chance. But again, the Jets favored. Why are they favored? I don't. They look horrible. They just lost to New England. They're terrible.
They keep favoring them. They keep giving them night games. It's completely, it's bonkers. I don't get any of it. They should try and get rid of these Jets out of the night game every week from now on. They're just terrible. Texans are probably going to win, I think, somehow. But like you said, they don't really have anybody besides Mixon, and they have their third wide receiver. Tank Dell is now the wide receiver one there, and they haven't been able to get him the ball all year. I've watched them throw him the ball 9 times and him catch it 4 times, maybe 5 if you're lucky. They just haven't been on the same page, Stroud and Tank Dell. The line hasn't been great. Stroud has been rushed like 60% of the time they're blitzing him. He's not doing great. The line isn't taking great care of him. There's no great wide receivers out there now to kind of bail him out. It's only Mixon. And that while the Jets aren't the greatest at stopping the run, they can stop the run. But what they are great at is stopping the pass. And so there's not going to be anybody to throw to today. And they can't run on every play. And Stroud can't run it on every play. So there's a very good chance the Jets win this game. I'm just going to go with what I still believe is the better defense here with Houston, believe it or not. I still think Houston's better defense.
Right now, they are the better defense. They're playing better. They have a great pass rush. They only rush 4. Again, you got your DeMeco Ryans defense over there, so they only rush 4 guys.
Exactly, and it used to work.
Yeah. Will Anderson, when you have Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, it really helps out. 2 edge rushes like that. I mean, that's going to help you. And Sentinel brought up, Al-Shaair before. He's on this team. He's not going to be playing tonight, but Derek Stingley Jr., Jimmy Ward's another guy who's on the team. It's like 49er Central over there. With Houston.
Great players, really loyal players.
But I mean, again, it all goes back to me, like you said, the Texans have the better defense. The Jets can't score. How are they going to get points? They're going to have to try to run the ball, and that's something that they keep going away from. They got 2 running backs that can run the ball. It's about the offensive line getting that push, creating those holes, maybe some misdirection. Get a little creative over there, but that's their problem. They have no creativity, and Aaron Rodgers, that stubborn bastard that he is, doesn't like motion. He wants everybody to be right in the same spot, so I know where you are. You got to get creative, and especially where he is right now, he can't run outside the pocket and make plays. He's going to have to do things that he doesn't really necessarily like to do in order to make shit happen, because Kenny, it's just not happening. I know Garrett Wilson had a big week last week, but that's because Devontae Adams was triple covered.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't pick the Jets. I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't. I'm definitely, as you know, I'm taking the Texans. But yeah, for the same reason. I mean, I've been saying this for the last 3 weeks. Oh, the Jets have to win this one. They're going to win, so I'm taking the Jets. The Jets got to win this one, so I'm taking the Jets. Right. 3 weeks in a row, they burned me 3 weeks in a row. So fine, we're going to take them now, and we're going to take Texans, and the Jets are going to win. Watch. But I can't do it. It's only you learn your lesson eventually. You can only touch the stove so many times and get burned before you're like, I can't do it anymore.
Steve-O's like it. He's got Adams, Wilson, Hall. He's saying, yeah, that's why they're favored.
The fantasy guys did see that coming. Even though Devontae was going over there, everyone was going to put their eyes on Devontae now. Going to free up Garrett Wilson. That's going to be great for Garrett Wilson.
That's right. That's right. Now, if it turns into touchdowns, that's another thing. But, right now, look, we're both on it. I got the Texans tonight. I'm with you. So on the road, I don't care where they're playing. They can play on the freaking moon. They're going to beat the Jets most likely, even without Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins will be back at some point. Let's go to our next game. We got Dallas and Atlanta. The game is in Atlanta, and the Falcons have been playing pretty good lately. Dallas not. We beat them up on Sunday night. That was a lot of fun to watch, obviously. 49ers taking care of business. We're off this week. We need a week off. Get CMC back hopefully soon. I don't want to deter too much from what we're doing. But, again, Kenny, Dallas at Atlanta. Dallas, you feel like, is really desperate right now for a win, and Atlanta is in pretty decent control of their division.
Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta in this one. They're home. They don't have to move too much. It's going to be 10 in the morning. You know what I mean? They're going to be cozy, warm, and in their own home and just relaxed. Yep. You got Dallas coming over for this early game. It's just ugly when, at least for me, I love to sleep in my own bed or in my own, something I know I'm comfortable with. I sleep better. I dream better. I'm more relaxed. I'm less stressed out. I think that makes a big deal. But also, like you said, the Falcons are deeply in control, I think, right now. London has been great. Kirk Cousins is doing what he's got to do. Bijan. Sorry, not Bijan. Bijan.
Bijan Mustard. Yeah, baby.
Bijan,
you got
whatever he wants to be called. He's fantastic. The O-line is very good. The D is hanging in there. Terrell is always good to sneak in an interception at least once in a while. So the Cowboys are giving up like 30 points a game since Micah left, I think. They can't run the damn ball. Their leading receivers, CD, and after that, it's the tight end. They're in bad shape.
They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. It's a freaking nightmare for them. When you got Algier and Bijan Robinson both coming at you, full head of steam, both fresh legs in the fourth quarter, you got a freaking problem. Steve-O thinks that Mike McCarthy might be fired if Dallas loses. I mean, damn.
That would be something. That would be something. Jerry Jones doesn't make moves.
Jerry Jones should fire himself is what should happen because he should have had Derrick Henry in the offseason or somebody.
Jerry Jones will be there 10 years from now. We'll still be seeing Jerry Jones with like a wig in a wheelchair, blanket over him.
Picture him with the George Washington wig. You get the little curls in the bottom. I love it. I'm going to go with Atlanta at home also. I think it'll be a close game.
Man, these guys live for money and excitement and rush. And they don't give a shit if they win or lose. It's the rush of
losing his shit, man.
Can you imagine if you owned a football team, the fucking high you would be on day and night, no matter how stressful, no matter how bad your team was, you would be ecstatic, man. I think it would be incredible. They're so lucky, some of these people.
God bless the man. He's lived this long. The amount of stress that he's put on himself over the past, 35, 40 years, however long he's owned this team, forget about it. God. This next matchup is interesting. Denver at Baltimore. And why is it interesting? Because Denver's got a really good defense. They are playing defense and they're playing efficient offense. And when you see Baltimore lose to a team like who last week? The Browns, what's going on there? You don't do that. That's why I can't put Baltimore in the upper echelon of the NFL. You cannot lose games like that. I don't care that it was in Cleveland. You can't do that.
That was a very surprising loss, especially from a quarterback that, I mean, no offense. Like we said, we like James. We know what he can do. We know he can throw the ball up and down the field all day.
Who's he throwing it to?
Lose to him, and you should have sacked him a dozen times. And that's an easy win for a team that's as good as Baltimore.
What a joke, man. That's a joke. I don't know what goes on right there, how you lose a game like that. If Lamar goes in thinking, oh, this would be a cakewalk, I don't have to watch film today or some shit like that. I don't know what the hell it is, but you can't lose a game like that. So
I mean, I know they're not exactly the same team, but the Niners and the Ravens are very similar in the fact that they dominate teams all year. And then when it comes time to winning a big game, they kind of like fall on their face.
Yeah, well, and this wasn't even supposed to be a big game. This was supposed to be a cakewalk, like I said, and it wasn't. Exactly. They struggled all game long. They almost won it, but Cleveland pulled it out at the end. So good job, Jameis Winston. I'm happy for you, bro. You've had some struggles, man, in the NFL. But Denver is playing really good football right now. Is it good enough football to beat Baltimore after that loss at home, Kenny? I don't think so. I think that Derrick Henry is going to have himself a nice day. I think Lamar is going to run a lot, because Patrick Surtain, we know, is going to lock down somebody. It's a matter of what do they do with Zay Flowers? Do they move him around? Rashad Bateman. Deontay Johnson, I don't think he's going to play yet. But I got to tell you real quick, I like Deontay Johnson a lot. I think he's a really good wide receiver. But the reason why he was putting up those numbers in Carolina is because he was the number one. Now he comes in here in a mix of being maybe the 2, 3, 4-ish guy, and they're not even a passing offense to begin with. You got Likely, you got Andrews, you got Bateman, you got Flowers, you got Derrick Henry to hand the ball off to. I don't really see how it fits in. So, I mean, the rich get richer, I guess, but it doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, here's what I was told by a Ravens fan, Darwin's Raven, who's been in here before. He said the reason they signed him is that they only have to pay him about $600,000.
I mean, that is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice luxury to have, but don't expect big numbers out of him. If you have him on fantasy, trade him if you can. Get somebody else.
That's what I said. I'm like, your problem seems to be the defensive backs right now. So was your answer? I wasn't grilling them or giving them shit. I was just genuinely trying to find out, were they trying to just like, you know what, we'll beef up the offense and that will improve our defense in that way. Because I would think you'd want to beef up the defense, but they went out and got another wide receiver on a team that's run first. So it just didn't make sense to me. And so he told me about the $600,000 thing. And he also told me about something else, but I can't remember right now. I think something with his contract or something, but it was beneficial. There was a good reason for it, but it just didn't seem like it was a move for this year.
Yeah, it was just an odd move to me, especially the fact that Rashad Bateman has been playing a lot better this year. I mean, he's been showing up in some pretty big moments. So.
Yeah, you're right. We don't even know if he's number 2 or number 3 because Bateman has been very good, and Zay is going to be one. Zay is number 1.
Zay is number 1. There's no doubt about it. He's the guy right there.
And that's what he'll draw. I mean, like you said, they do move Zay around a lot, but I think they're going to have Surtain on him for the most part, as much as they can.
If they can.
Keep Zay from having probably one of his like 120-yard games. He could still score a touchdown. He may still get 7 targets and like 60 yards and give you a nice day in fantasy, but I don't know if he's going to hit the end zone. He only has 1 touchdown this entire year.
Yeah, he's been racking up the yardage, but not getting in the end zone. That's for sure. That is for sure. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's scared because last year against Kansas City, he tried to reach for the end zone and the ball went out of it for a touchdown.
Hey, yeah, talking about PSD. Hey, these things, they stick with you. They really do. And then your unconscious is like dealing with it while you're like in the moment, and shit happens.
That's why they need team psychologists, man. They got to have them in there, a whole bunch of them, all on the ready to go. All right, so anyway, I got Baltimore in this game. Even though I like Denver, what they're doing, Baltimore coming off that loss, they're going to come out strong. There's no doubt in my mind. So I am taking the Ravens at home.
Yeah, this could be an upset. I will acknowledge this could be an upset because they have a good defense. I like Bo Nix, and they can run the ball.
Yeah, they can run. They can run. And Baltimore's defense
too good.
Yeah, Baltimore's defense can't be great. If they blow this one, forget it. Oh God, no. That would be
hopefully they don't pull a game like last with the Browns, and they should be fine in this game.
I don't see that happening again.
Losing to the Browns when you're the Ravens right now is so bad.
Right. On their 3rd string quarterback, for God's sake, or whatever the hell it is, who God even knows. Deshaun Watson. That's another story. I was going to bring him up in our trick or treat, but that would have taken too long. It would have taken probably a half hour to talk about that.
I mean, is he just going to disappear? Do you think another team will take him?
I don't see why any team would touch him. It doesn't make any sense.
What about Tennessee?
Why? He's not playing well. And why bring in that drama?
Because, because Levis is really not great either. So, like, maybe
they'll draft somebody. They'll probably end up with, well, I don't know if Dion would let it happen if he would let Shedeur Sanders go there, but maybe one of those other dudes.
I saw him go into Cleveland first, I think.
You think he would? Oh, man. He would hate that. Oh,
I'm
man.
sure he would hate it, but it would be like an iconic move for Dion and Shedeur to go to Cleveland and maybe bring a goddamn championship there for the first time ever. Yeah. You know how they spin things and publicists and media do. Like, it seems like a great story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it would be. It would be. It'd be real nice because
he's not going to go to New England because they got their quarterback. So Tennessee possibility.
We've been already let go of their number one pick, Baker Mayfield. Now look at him. But yeah, again, proximity is everything. All right, we're both going with Baltimore on that one. We got Miami and Buffalo next. This time they're playing in Buffalo. Buffalo has been getting the better of them for the past 5 years. Tua just has a hard time beating Josh Allen. I don't see why that really changes much, but I do see a more competitive game. With Tua in there, they have a much better team. It was fluky the way they lost against Arizona last week. They probably should have won that game, but Arizona ended up driving down and they scored, and Miami could not come back at the end. Miami can look with Tyreek Hill in there and Jaden Waddle. A lot can happen. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane. They got players, so I do see them scoring points against Buffalo, who does not have a great defense, and they're predicated on getting to the passer really fast. What Tua does is get the ball out of his hands really fast. So I think Miami can hang in there, but not quite enough. Buffalo just seems to be able to pull out these wins. At home, I got to take the Bills, man, but I like it. I think it's going to be a close game, and I'm going to take Miami plus 6 points in that game. I'm going to tell you right now.
So you're going to take Miami for betting, but you're going to take the Bills?
I'm going to take Miami plus 6. So Buffalo is favored 6 points. I'm going to take the points. I think it's going to be a close game.
Well, I actually think that Miami could win this game. I think they're really desperate for a win. I think they really want to win. And I don't know if you know this. I think you do know this, but the point I'm getting to after this. I have Devon Achane on my team. With Tua and him together, every time they've played, it's only been 3 times this year, but Achane has gotten 26, 25 fantasy points the 3 times they played together. The times that they haven't played together, Achane hasn't done shit. And Mostert is also back and healthy. And what you can do to Buffalo is run on their ass. That's what the Ravens did, and they did that, and it worked. And I could see them doing it here. And what's going to happen is they're going to run this ball. But Tua is also there. And you got, like you said, you got Waddle, you got Reek. There's a lot of danger out there for that defense. There's a lot to worry about in Buffalo. So I'm going to go with Miami away in the cold.
I like it.
Out of, in visiting, in hostile territory. I like it. I think I'm going to go for it. Probably going to be a bad pick, but that's what I like. I like it.
No, man, I like it. I like the balls on you right there. I didn't know for Halloween you're dressing up as a fucking Hercules over here, but you're bulging your muscles on this one, brother. I freaking love it. All right. The upset of the week so far, Miami taking down Buffalo and Buffalo. Looking forward to watching that game.
That would be wild. We have to do it too as the Niners. I think we got to play them. Do we play them in Buffalo or we play them home? Do you know?
I think it's in Buffalo. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it is. There, and then we got the Packers the week after that. 2 cold games away. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. The 49ers, though, have shown they can play in cold weather football. They have shown that before, so I'm not too afraid. But, yeah, you're right. The elements do play a part. There's no question about it.
And Kyle gets significantly better in November, so also something.
Yeah. No, I'm not too worried about the Niners right now, especially with the way the NFC looks. I mean, the NFC North, but everybody else, what? I'm not really sure. So I don't know. And speaking of everybody else, you got the NFC South matchup, New Orleans at Carolina. So this is a game that nobody really cares about. Nobody really wants to watch. Nobody really wants to talk about. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. But Chris Olave back in the lineup, Shaheed back in the lineup. You got Kamara over there. Again, I'm not too thrilled about Spencer Rattler, but you're going against
David Carr is going to be there. David Carr is
Carr playing? Is Derek Carr playing? Yeah. Okay. Then I feel better about the pick then.
It's going to be a nice game for New Orleans, I think. So I don't think we need to spend much time on this one. It's going to be a New Orleans win, I think. And they need it. What's the last time they won? Week 2?
Seriously, So yeah, I mean, yeah, if they beat the hell out of Dallas, we're all like, oh my god, the Saints are a top 5 team in the NFL.
Yeah,
Now
remember everyone
score.
was saying that, and we worried about Atlanta being able to hang.
Right. Yeah, now look what's going on. It's amazing. But now that we're in week 9, now we're getting, that's the thing. Now in week 9, we're really starting to get the feeling of who's who and what's what.
Right? Because we talked about that in the beginning of the year. You usually have teams winning games, but they're not the teams that are going to be winning games at the end of the year. It always flops. Right. Baseball always does that shit too, where you've got like the bad teams in the beginning of the year, and they're like mopping teams up, and you're like, holy shit, this is their year, and then
just like the Yankees.
Reality.
Just like the Yankees, down goes the ship. As a Mets fan, I was pretty happy.
That was brutal. You must have loved it. But yeah, that was sad. That was a sad choker.
Oh man, terrible. I was watching last night. I'm like, oh look, they're up 5-0. I'm like, at least they're gonna bring it back to LA. And then all of a sudden, Aaron Judge drops the ball. Freaking error at third base. Garrett Cole doesn't cover first base on the ground ball to Rizzo. Like, what the hell are you doing out there? God. What a mess.
We also had in one of the first games too, we had like a double play ball that ended the game. We would have been able to get out of there with a win or something, and we blew that too. I don't know, man. It's just
errors,
lazy.
Bro.
Lazy.
Errors. Gosh.
Derek Jeter doesn't miss that. Derek Jeter don't miss those plays.
Derek Jeter does not miss those plays. You got that right.
Never.
Absolutely not. No, Derek Jeter is gold. The guy could not get in trouble down in New York, not for 1 second. I tried digging up dirt on him. It was impossible. You can't do it. You just can't do it.
It's a good.
All right. So, all right, the next matchup, we got Vegas and the Bengals. Okay, two teams that aren't exciting anybody. The Bengals got their ass handed to them by Philadelphia last week. You never know what you're getting with Vegas week to week. But, Cincinnati, Kenny, is a different team objectively without T. Higgins. I mean, he really makes that big of a difference because you can double Jamar Chase and you don't have really much else to worry about because the running game is like blah. Mike Gesicki's okay. No more Tyler Boyd. So without T. Higgins in there, it's going to be kind of hard for them to win this game. I see a close one here either way.
It's close, but I still got to give it to the Bengals just because it's the Raiders. If it wasn't the Raiders, I'd probably pick the team playing the Bengals this week. But Higgins, is he 100% out, or is he like?
No, it's questionable right now. I'm still waiting to find out.
Yeah, it's still possible.
I got him on my team.
But you know what the thing is with the Raiders? I don't know if Crosby's back. I don't think so. And then you don't have Devontae Adams anymore, and there's no Zamir White is having an awful year, so it's just Alexander Madison. And you got Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker over there, and like these. It just doesn't seem like enough. But the Bengals have been so bad this year, you just never know. They're going to be home, so I got to go lean towards the Bengals.
I'm leaning toward the Bengals too. I don't feel comfortable about it. I really feel like picking the upset in this one with Vegas because I just don't see Cincinnati scoring points.
Vegas. You know how I feel about gambling and all that, but Vegas and the people who make the odds, they know what the F they're talking about.
Oh, they do.
So always pay attention to what they say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at those lines. They'll tell you who's going to win and who's not going to win just by how many points. It's amazing how accurate they are. It pisses me off.
Yeah, it really. These are like people who were really great statisticians or whatever is it. Statisticians. I don't know if that's
statisticians.
These freaking people know probability and percentages and statistics. Like scientists know shit that we don't understand, and so I respect that. I do pay attention to that. I give it its arena. Its spotlight. I do.
Doing Einstein algorithms all day. What up there? David McNine is in the house. Love to see it. Love to see it. We're going through our games now, bud. And we are up to the Chargers and the Browns, who we've been talking about the Browns a little bit, who won their game against Baltimore unbelievably. Way to go, Jameis Winston. But a really tough defense comes into town this week. The game is in Cleveland again. But the Chargers, Lad McConkey, pretty good wide receiver. They don't have a whole lot else going on. But, they got J.K. Dobbins running the ball. And, you got Justin Herbert and great coaching out of Jim Harbaugh. They had a rough loss going back a couple of weeks ago before they had their bye. I can see LA coming out really strong defensively in this game, and I don't think that Cleveland is going to have another one of those bounce back. Oh my God, look at us! Yeah, we're actually here, and we don't need Deshaun Watson. And he was what was wrong with the team. No, they got a lot more wrong with the team. So I'm going to have to go with LA on the road.
Yeah, same here. I have them. That Chargers have been my defense all year in fantasy, so I know they don't give up a lot of points. They're good for an interception a game. Fact. Yep. They're going for at least a sack or 2 to 3 sacks a game. Another fact. Harbaugh knows what he's doing on defense. He takes it very seriously. They can run the ball. Ladd McConkey has been very good. And as bad as Herbert is, fact, I still think that they win this game, even though that they're in Cleveland, which could be cold. It could be wet. You never know. And it's early.
That's Harbaugh's style, man. That's what Harbaugh wants.
Yeah.
He wants cold, wet, ugly. He wants people coming out with broken noses and all that sort of stuff. That's exactly what he wants.
Stefanski's got his hands full, but I'm going to go with the Chargers. They're not going to give up points.
Get those powder blue freaking jerseys dirty, man. Those ugly things.
There you go. Maybe Antonio Gates will be over. He'll come to Cleveland and give some support.
Love it.
You know,
we talked about
in the Browns, the tight end is like king, with Newsome.
Oh, so yeah.
That's why I think it'd be cool if Antonio Gates shows up there and is there to support. That would be awesome.
That'd be great. Antonio Gates, one of the best undrafted players ever. Gotta freaking love it.
Love that.
So we go to the NFC East next, and that would be the Washington Commanders, who are on fire. Even though they did not play a good game last week, they did win on the Hail Maryland. So way to go for Washington. They played the Giants, man, and the Giants showed fight against Pittsburgh. They are not a good team by any means, but they play hard. That's why I give Brian Dable a lot of credit. They play hard for him. They don't have a lot of guys that you can name and say, "Oh wow, Daniel Jones," and then that's what people do. They don't even know who's on the team. But you know what? They fight. They play hard, and you know what? They can upset Washington. They're going to win this game at home. For some reason, Washington Giants, when they get together, weird things happen. The Giants beat them earlier this year. It was a weird game. They didn't have. I mean, Washington won the game earlier this year. Washington won by a field goal, I think it was, but that's because the Giants didn't have a field goal kicker. They were forced to go for it on fourth down the entire second half. I think the Giants pull out the upset win here, man. I just have a feeling. It's not even based on logic, bro. I just have a feeling.
That's a bold take. I like it, though, because you know what? They're in the same division, and they play each other all the time, and this could go either way. So I'm with you on that. I like the Giants. I've been saying this since actually day one. And so they are a good team. They have good tools that they can use. Their main problem is Daniel Jones. If they had Shedeur Sanders next year, this team would be right up there with Washington and with the Cowboys and with Philly. And how great. What a great place for Sanders to end up, I think. It's a perfect place for him. And kick Daniel Jones the hell out of here. I don't know what he's going to do. This poor guy, he's not a bad player. He's like Sam Darnold, but he can't go to the next level. There's no next level for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they usually don't give him guys who go to the next level. They finally gave him Malik Neighbors, and it does work out, the two of them. But, Slayton comes around once in a while, Wan'Dale Robinson. I like these guys, but it doesn't always
Tyrone Tracy. There's a lot of there's a lot of guys.
I like Tracy, and even Singletary I like, who came back and started running a little bit last week. So I know that you're not going with the Giants, but I'm gonna take them in the upset at home.
Okay, I do like the pick, though. I'm going to go with the Commanders only because I have Jaden. I'm super loyal, especially after last week when I thought I wasn't going to start him, and he had like 10 fantasy points until the last play. And then he had 22 fantasy points, and I was like, oh. And so amazing. I can't ditch him now. So I'm going to go with
I got to tell you, so I'm last fantasy week. This is to go into first place. I was in second. I'm playing the guy in first place. Long story short, I got Pittsburgh's defense. He's got Najee Harris, and we're like neck and neck. And what does Pittsburgh do at the end of the game? TJ Watt, strip sack, fumble. That's how I win. I end up winning by 4 points. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you got to be kidding. I thought the Giants would go down and score a garbage touchdown. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm like, this ain't going to work. And what a miracle. So there you go.
That's great. I love fantasy. I feel like such a champ, man. I feel like a GM. I don't care. I love it. And so last week,
it is great.
I played the guy in first place too. He was 7-0. I was 6-1.
Okay.
I beat him by 24 points.
Nice.
He had Henry. He had Kupp. He had Chase Brown. He had Josh Allen. He had. I mean, he was stacked. Okay, and Henry just didn't have a great game.
No.
And it was the only thing. The only difference was that Henry didn't have a great game. And that's the only reason I win. This is what happens. If you look at my thing, I'm not the top scorer for points, but what the points that I know I'm not, it's not that I'm not giving up points, but the points that I face are very low. So luckily when I play a team, they have a bad week. So that's how I've gotten to where I am. And so I'm not going to just pretend. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I'm so great. I do have Jaden, and I made some really good picks. Like I drafted Tucker Kraft. I drafted Hunter Henry for my tight end. So like those are pretty damn good picks when you took them dead last. And what they're doing right now is really cool. So I've been very lucky to this point. Everything can go downhill from now on, and you know that. So
I know it is right. I know it.
So far, so good. Yeah, so Steve was saying he had Diggs, and then Collins went out the next week. And so I've had Tank Dell on my bench all year. I've never played him, and I want to play him so bad this week, but I just can't trust the guy.
It's hard. I understand. I know. It's and I know you got your thing going on. It's either Tank Dell or Zay Flowers you had in mind. Bucky Irving is questionable, so you're not going to play him. But
also, he's going up against Kansas City's defense, Bucky. And if you look at his stats, I mean, he puts them up. But this week, against Kansas City's D, I just can't see it happening too many points.
I'm curious what McNiner, Steve-O, and the guys all have to say who are in here. Who would they rather play, Tank Dell or Zay Flowers this week? I'm kind of interested in what they got to say.
So far, McNiner does a pick'ems too. We do it on Wednesday, and we don't get into it too deep. It's a big panel, and you know we can't be there for 3 hours, so we kind of keep it moving. Yeah. There's so much shit to talk about. That's the fun of it all, you know.
All right, jump into the Tampa game. Okay, well, we're gonna who's Tampa got this week? Are they off this week?
Is that the Monday? No.
Oh yeah, they got Kansas City on Monday night. That's right. Yeah,
okay, yeah. Okay,
all right, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Let's get through these games actually, so we can watch the game coming up. I don't know how exciting it'll be, but all right, we got Chicago at Arizona. Chicago is a little fugazi, in my opinion, man. I think that people think they're a little better than what they are. They're not really scoring a bunch of points. They are playing good on defense, so they got to go to Arizona. Late game, late window, doesn't make that much of a difference. I don't know. I think this one gets really tight, but I think that maybe the running game for the Bears is what wins it over the running game for Arizona. Even though I like Connor more than Swift, I think that the Bears are more stout on defense, and that's what's going to win him the game. A really close one. I'm going 21-20, so I'm going to take the Bears on the road, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I'm with you, especially after they just lost too, right? So
yeah, on the Hail Maryland, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not going to be good, and they're going to want to win, and they know that they have to win in that division if they want to have any chance of making the playoffs. They can't fall behind now. And the Cardinals, they just don't have, like, I don't want to say an identity. I don't want to go that far. I feel like I know their identity. It's Connors and Kyler scrambling and Marvin Harrison Jr. going on a long pass. Trey McBride is also another weapon they have. They have all these weapons. Yeah. They have all these opportunities. I just don't see them executing this stuff. It feels like the best plays they have are when Kyler's like running around like a chicken without a head and he throws it to like the 5th tight end or something.
Usually.
And that's their main. And so I can't rely on that, especially with the Bears having a decent defense like they do. I don't like Caleb Williams. I dropped him in the middle of the year. Believe it or not, somebody picked him up. Knock yourself out. I picked up Joe Flacco yesterday. I feel really good about that. So as my back. So I'm good with that. I think they need a win here. I think the defense wins out.
All right, no doubt. And Steve-O is saying you should go with Dell because Lamar and Derrick Henry run too much. Interesting point. They may be running a whole lot this week.
Yeah.
Against Denver, we'll see. But Denver's pretty stout defense, so I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's get to our next one.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you what you were saying exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We talked about Jacksonville earlier and what a just demolition bag of hell they are. I don't know what's going on with Jacksonville this year. They take on Philly. Now Philly is starting to really find their identity, Kenny. They're running the ball. A.J. Brown is back in the lineup. He makes a huge difference for that offense, not to mention Devontae Smith as well. So I think Philly is really starting to get it together. Their younger rookies in the secondary are becoming better players now. Philly's starting to come into their own. I think they crush Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they'll try to stick around a little bit, but Philadelphia, in the end, they'll pull away. They'll do some tush pushes, brotherly shove, whatever the hell you want to call it. Give me Philly.
Yeah, I'm taking Philly again at home. That's going to be the pick for me. That's an easy one, I think. The Jags are just not a very good team. We just talked about how bad Trevor is. Getting rid of everyone in the wide receiver room was a bad idea. ATN was, banged up, and it's all had an effect. And that's another team that's had a lot of coaching changes, haven't they? Trevor Lawrence over there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, plenty. Yeah. It's been a nightmare over
so
there.
That doesn't help. Even though this guy's starting, he's got the tools. He's a good quarterback. You've seen him launch the ball, but you got to have the guidance as well. So I don't think that the coaching staff has got what it takes to beat the Eagles this week.
I agree with you. They haven't shown it all year. What are they, 2-6 or whatever? Yeah, it's been garbage. McNiner's saying that the Bears are going to struggle and the Cardinals are going to take care of them. I think they both used to be St. Louis. Now, St. Louis Cardinals used to be, and then the Bears play some weird thing. They have some sort of weird connection. I don't know.
Huh.
Kirk is hurt. Christian Kirk is hurt. It doesn't even matter. They're going to get killed. They
Yeah,
can have 12 of them out there. It won't even
and
matter.
they got Tank Bigsby, and they're already thinking about trading the guy. So
Yeah.
And it's only like a day left to do it, and they've been talking about it. I think they've already given up Jacksonville. So
They should. They definitely should. They need to keep their quarterback, but do other things, get a better offensive line, and so on and so forth. Our next game is really
pieces. Dump some pieces, get some picks. You got to start over.
They have to start from the inside out. That's how it works. So, and these two teams have figured it out. That'd be Detroit and Green Bay. They have really figured it out. They've got their teams working from the inside out. Even though Detroit now missing Aiden Hutchinson, they play in Green Bay this weekend. Jordan Love looks like he's going to play. He's got a groin injury, but it looks like he's good to go. And ironically enough, Jared Goff, he was hurt. I think he had an ankle. I wrote it. Yeah, he had an ankle injury, but he's back. He's practicing. He's good. I think Detroit is just too much, man. They are just powerful on offense. I mean, I feel like they can score whenever they want. They're putting up 42, 50 points, 39 points. I mean, damn. So I think it's a little bit too much, and I'm not sure, like I said, that Green Bay is really there yet, because I think that they're kind of, I don't want to say fraudulent because they're a good team, but they're not as good as everybody thinks. So I'm going to take Detroit on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as I'd like the Packers and that defense and Jacobs to take over the game, I think the Lions just have too many weapons, too many tools. And their main problem is probably going to be their DBs too, the Lions. But with Love isn't 100%, and he's already thrown 9 interceptions. He hasn't been healthy all year. He's just not the same guy. It's just, he may be hurt. He may be trying to do too much, and they know that they have no choice. And whether he's hurt or not, he's playing in this game. This is a huge game. Malik Willis ain't playing in this game.
No, he definitely is hurt because he got hurt in the first game of the season. I remember.
So it sounds like sounds like it's just they know they're going to, but they have to put their best players out there.
At this point, everybody's hurt. They're all playing hurt. There's not one healthy person in the NFL right now, I guarantee you. And if they are, they haven't played a game yet. So
that's for sure. You're right about that.
All right, so we're both on Detroit over there. Next game is our division, bro. It's the Rams and the Seahawks, and the Seahawks got embarrassed by Buffalo. Boy, was I wrong on that one. I'm like, yeah, I think Seattle's going to win this one. I don't know what I was thinking. No DK Metcalf makes a big difference right there. So it doesn't look like he's going to play again. That takes away a big part of Seattle's offense, and the Rams got back Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and look what happened. I was right on that one when I said they were going to beat Minnesota on Thursday night. So I did get that one going to an 11-5 week. But anyway, the Rams on the road in Seattle. Obviously, these two teams very familiar with each other. What do you think?
Do the Seahawks always beat the Rams though? Isn't this one of those? Because the NFC West has these cycles.
Weird streaks.
Beat the shit out of the Seahawks. The Seahawks always beat somebody. It may be the Cardinals or the Rams. I don't know the cycle, but I know that we've got that going on in the West. Somebody may know, I feel like Niner or Steve would know that. But I don't know. Do you know the record?
We got the Rams. The Rams got Seattle, and
okay, so it's
Seattle
the Rams
got Arizona. I think that's the way.
I think you're right. The Rams own Seattle, and even in Seattle, they're just not there. They started out well, but we knew that. This is what we talked about before. Bad teams win in the beginning of the year, and then it kind of evens out. I feel like that's what's happening with the Seahawks. They have a good pass rush. They have good cornerbacks, I think. They have a good DB room, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Rams are disgusting. McVay is a great coach. He has great plays. Stafford delivers the ball where it has to be. He's semi-mobile. He's no scrambler, but he's mobile. And you got Puka and Kupp is just Tutu Atwell. Demarcus Robinson, Whittington is there. I like
Williams.
I hate the Rams. I know how dangerous they can be, and we should have beat them earlier in the year because they didn't have their weapons, and we still blew it. And so that's what I come down to. So I see the Rams destroying the Seahawks. Destroying.
All right. Well,
I'm talking about 2 touchdowns, Puka, 2 touchdowns, Kupp, Kyren Williams, 2 touchdowns, that kind of day. Day. They're going to run the ball with Kyren. I mean, what a nasty-ass team. You have Kyren that you can give the ball to anytime, probably top 3 running back this year. And then you have those 2 animals out there running routes. I don't know how you stop it.
Yeah, Kyron Williams got this streak going with touchdowns dating back to last year where he scored in 10 consecutive games or something crazy like that. I mean, the man's on a roll, and Seattle is not good at stopping the run. So that's another thing. Kyron Williams are going to eat that day. I'm with you. It's the Rams all the way. Let's go.
God,
Sunday.
I hope so.
Good. What's that?
I hope so, because I have Kyron. So
oh, there you go. Well, I think you're going to have a good day with that.
I agree with Steiner. I would love the Sea Chickens to win, even though they have, they either way, whoever wins, I think is going to be ahead of us, right? I don't think either way. But
well, yeah, we're 4-4.
I'd rather the Rams lost. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams lose also. I feel like they're the better of the two teams. So let's
and we've beaten the Seahawks 6 times in a row, right? So I think I'd rather have the Rams lose that one, but I gotta pick the Rams if I'm picking a team that I think is gonna win.
Yeah, we're being objective, excuse me, not optimistic. I'm not optimistic about anything right now, but the freaking Reds. Yeah. Steven doesn't even think that Stafford will finish the game. Oh man.
I mean, I'd be fine with that.
When he plays,
do you mean because they're gonna be up by so many points?
Maybe that'd be the case, right? All right, Sunday Night Football is the Indianapolis Colts, led by Joe Flacco now, not Anthony Richardson, going against the Minnesota Vikings, who have now lost 2 in a row after starting out 5-0. So are they turning back into a pumpkin like we talked about last week with Minnesota? I still think they're a good team. Indianapolis is also a good team, and I think that they're going to give them hell in Minnesota, man. I think it's going to be a really tough game. This won't be a walk in the park.
No, it won't. Flacco has seen it all, man. Joe Flacco has seen it all. He knows what to do. He's calm, collected. He could throw the ball. He's a great decision maker. He goes through his reads real fast. He's smart. He's got Pierce. He's got Downs. He's got weapons over there. If the running game is going with Jonathan Taylor, if that's going good, it could be a very close game, but I got to take the Vikings. Even though they've lost the last 2, and I picked them for both of those games, I'm going to stick with them again. I just think they're a little too good for the Colts.
I think I agree with you. Minnesota at home, I think that defense will stand up and they will take care of the game for the most part, even though, again, Joe Flacco somehow at 39 years old or whatever the hell he is making things happen, man. So, don't be shocked if it's a close game, but I think Minnesota does pull it out. Justin Jefferson.
I don't want to start too many rumors. I've already made my short about Joe Flacco, making fun of him. Joe Flacco and I, we went to the same college. We went to a major party school. And Joe Flacco was a party animal. And so this dude, he can party, but he can do business too. This is a guy that I'm supposed to hate, but I really like just because of our connection to college. And I never want to admit that in front of Niner fans, but the dude is a good dude. He's a smart guy, and he can do both. He can party, and he can be business. And that's a dangerous thing. He's going to deliver that ball to a lot of good, fast wide receivers. And they got Mo Alley Cox at tight end. There are people that you haven't even – I know you have heard of, but a lot of people haven't even heard of yet on Indian that you're going to see get catches this week, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, we both like Minnesota, but we like Indy to hang in there. The question is on Monday night, can Tampa hang with the Chiefs? And the Tampa, they put up a great fight against Atlanta without any wide receivers. Baker was making it happen, man. I got to tell you, Baker's playing really, really good football this year. And Patrick Mahomes really isn't playing that great. He's got 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions or something like that.
Not a good quarterback. He wasn't a great quarterback last year either.
Not happening. It's their defense that's winning these games. So can Tampa Bay score on this defense? Not against this run defense. If it's going to be a Rashad White and if Bucky Irving does play, I don't see them going anywhere, which means that Kansas City is going to be able to sit back and play the pass and pin their ears back. I think it's going to be a really tough game for Tampa Bay in this one. They don't have the weapons, and to go into Kansas City in that environment on Monday Night Football, too tough. Kansas City stays undefeated.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I know that we kind of sorry, keep doing that. I keep that out of the screen. I'm so sorry. We kind of crisscross with a little fantasy on this show, and so I debated thinking about starting Bucky, but against the Chiefs D, I cannot do it.
No, man.
I don't see it happening, even though he's also very good out of the backfield catching passes. The D is just so nasty over there. I couldn't do it. So I sat his ass this week. I don't think that they have a chance, the Bucks, even with Baker. No wide receivers, even with no wide receivers. I know we talked about Sean Tucker last week, but Sean Tucker is a Tyrone Tracy guy. He's very good. He has the potential, but the numbers aren't there. He's a good player, but he's not giving you consistent production. And so while we hear the name, we recognize the talent, not producing exactly what we think, what we hear is he producing. So I don't think they have the weapons or the firepower to beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs will remain undefeated.
Yeah, they will. And I think it's going to be a real low-scoring game, too, because Todd Bowles knows how to play defense. He likes to blitz. I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes is great against the blitz, but when guys aren't open, I don't know. DeAndre Hopkins will make his first appearance for the Chiefs this week, so let's see how he comes out. I did snag him up, actually, on one of my fantasy teams. He's on my bench right now. I want to see what happens, but I figured, he did have 1,000 yards last year in Tennessee, and he did have 75 catches, so what can he do with Patrick Mahomes? Maybe something pretty good. And a lot of wide receivers got traded. Man, we got a whole bunch of different guys, and maybe more to come. I want to see if there's still teams out there that need to or may make a move. We'll see what happens.
Now, this year, is it the 31st as usual, or is it the 2nd? I heard something.
I'm trying to remember the exact. Well,
I know it's not today. I know it's not the last day. Maybe tomorrow because it's Friday. Is that possible?
I wonder if it ended today or tomorrow. Now, I wish I had it in front of me. I'm not exactly sure.
I think they changed it from the 31st, which is today, to like the 1st to the 2nd, but I'm not sure. They may do it just because today is a Thursday, so maybe they're going to go one more day till tomorrow. Thursday. Don't know, or maybe till Saturday or Sunday. I don't know, but I believe they changed it.
I caught the end of NFL Live. I didn't hear anything about the end of a trade deadline yet, so maybe it's still going on. You know that moves are always made after the trade deadline anyway. I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, he says Steve-O saying it's on the 5th. On
there you go.
All right, perfect. So, still moves to be made. We'll see who's going to do them. We'll see who won't. But tonight, who's got the moves? Is it the Jets, the Texans? Kenny and I agree it's going to be Houston in this one. Even without Stephon Diggs and no Nico Collins, the Jets just cannot figure it out. Where are the points going to come from? I don't know. But the points will be back here next week, Kenny. Same time, same channel, baby. We're going to do it again.
See ya.
All right, guys. Power 32 podcast. We're out of here. We appreciate you all. Steve-O, McNiner, everybody who was in the house. Thank you. Come back next week. We got more for you. We'll see you. Power 32. Peace.